All right, so today we're talking about Dehancer. We're going to go over a few tests that I've done with three different cameras here: the Alexa Mini, the original Blackmagic Pocket, and the Pocket 6K. I'm going to go over a few things I really like about Dehancer and a few kind of tips and tricks and a few things to maybe avoid or be careful when using Dehancer. I'm not a colorist, I'm a DP, but I really like to play with my own footage and yeah, let's get to it. Let's see the examples here. So first of all, we have an Alexa Mini ProRes Quad 4, just Rec 709 look as a base look. I've done this for all the cameras. I've gone over the different looks with all the cameras, so you'll be able to see what each camera looks like with their respective looks. I've tried to do a few pulled and push looks here. The Dehancer allows you to do that, but I would suggest that if you are going to do that proper, you should probably do maybe a bit of a push look on the sensor itself, so maybe overexpose a little bit, or if you want to do a pulled look, underexpose a little bit, and you're going to get a little more information out of the highlights or shadows, depending on if you want a pull or a push look. One thing that I really like about Dehancer is that it's incredibly fun and easy to use. You can just play with it for hours and hours and get to so many different looks. I mean, the possibilities are really endless. But this also brings me to my second point about Dehancer, which is, as it gives you all the tools to be able to do that, I think you still need to know what you're looking for in a look. You know, it's not really foolproof in a way. You do have to know what you're looking for and know what film looks like. It's not just a matter of throwing on a film stock and a bunch of grain and it'll look like film. I do believe that all the examples here, some of them you could say maybe look a little bit like film, some of them would not pass in my opinion, but that's just me. And I think film these days can be scanned to be so clean and to look a lot different than some heavy film emulation we see online. And he brings me to my third point, and I think the third point would be to kind of be careful when you're going about Dehancer or a film emulation in general. I mean, you can do anything you want with it. You can be as creative as you want and push the colors in so many different directions and do whatever, but if you're using a full frame sensor and trying to emulate 8mm film or even 16mm film without cropping in, you're not going to get something that's going to look like an 8mm film or a 16mm film. You need to pair the look with the sensor size, in my opinion. And I do find that it's also really easier if you're using a camera that's maybe a little more organic, like the Alexa or like the original Blackmagic, or there's a few red cameras that will give you a bit more of an organic image, and like the digital Bolex and all those cameras, just a softer highlight roll off, and the way the motion is and the dynamic range and the colors are already a lot closer to film, in my opinion, compared to some more modern, newer cameras like the Pocket 6K and like a bunch of Sony offerings or Canon offerings. It doesn't mean you can't get to a film look with those cameras, but I do think, in my opinion, that it's a bit harder. Okay, let's go over a look development by ourselves here, or with you guys rather. So this is just an extra shot that I got of my girlfriend by the window here. It was obviously a challenging lighting scenario because of the way, I didn't have any bounce or anything. It was just like full shadow into full sunlight. What Dehancer allows you to do with many cameras and with the Arri cameras is pick your camera right away from log. So you can, right here we're picking Alexa Mini, log C is the curve. And I've done a few adjustments already to my exposure compensation just to bring it to somewhere that I like. We have Film Developer, which I'm not going to use for this one. And I'm going to go with a Vision 3 250D, which I think honestly kind of matches the Alexa Mini sensor quite well already. We're going to go with a pulled look just because it's sort of underexposed at the moment. And it sort of looks already like a pulled look. One thing I do really like about Dehancer is the film compression. Film compression helps to kind of lower your highlights and really compresses them. And in my opinion, that really helps you get the film look. Get to something that's a little more like a film look right out of the bat. So we're not going to use expand at the moment because our blacks are already pretty low here. Let's see about a film LUT, or a print LUT rather. If we go with, let's say, a Kodak LUT, which would have probably been used alongside this this film stock. Here we can see we can manage the exposure of the print LUT, which is quite nice, and it looks like you would have done it, practically, which is amazing. Maybe add a little bit of color density here. And we have the color heads. Color heads are really nice because you can sort of dial in. You gotta enable it. You can sort of dial in your colors just a little more to get to the look that you actually want. And I think that having that straight into Dehancer allows you to not have to use, a ton of other nodes. So that's great. Here we're gonna go with like a bit of a warmer look, I think. Yeah. All right, film grain is a big one. In my opinion, Dehancer has the best film grain. It just looks like it really dances in the image, which I'm a big fan of. If you see right here, it's really believable. But what I do love about Dehancer as well, Dehancer's film grain, is that you can go to custom and you can really play with the grain. And let's say you're not really trying to do a crazy film look and you're trying to do something that's a little more clean, or you're just adding grain to your footage and not necessarily trying to get a film look. You can do that with Dehancer, which is amazing. And you can control how much grain is in the shadows, the highlights, and everything else. So I'm a big fan of that. I think it really sells the look, and you can go negative or positive grain from the print LUT or from the stock itself. So that's pretty cool. Here we're gonna go with a negative just to give it a little more grain. Halation is a big one as well. They have a great halation software built right in. We're just gonna add a little bit to this one. Bloom is a big one as well. Let's maybe add just a little bit of bloom on this one. Film damage is a good one as well. We're not going to add any to this one. The two things that I really like about the full version of Dehancer is that they have film breath and gate weave, which in my opinion is like, you really need those two to make it look like actual film. Film breath kind of lets your footage moves a little bit with like the shades of the tints and the temperatures within the film how film would actually look, and then film or gate weave rather really emulates the way film would move in your gate. These days, like I said, if you're shooting on 35mm film, you're probably going to get a really clean look. But I think you can still tell that there's a bit of film breath and gate weave. And I think it's really important to use that. Let's go full frame here. Yeah. Cool. So this is a look that I'm happy with, I think. Let's see what else. Oh, and another thing I guess that I really like about Dehancer are the scans. And I think the scans here, if you do want to do a proper film emulation, you shouldn't go for, the 8mm scan or the 16mm scan. If you're shooting on 35, you should go with a super 35mm scan. And you should also go with, like, this would be a 4-perf. I didn't shoot it open gate, so it shouldn't be 4-perf. It should be 3-perf. And we're just going to scale this to what it would actually look like if you shot 35mm film. What I will say is that maybe there's one thing that I don't like as much, is that if you try to scale your footage inside, it actually gets rid of those gate holes. And I'm not a fan of that. So hopefully that can be fixed in later versions. But yeah, overall, really like Dehancer. Big fan. But yeah, you do have to be careful on the look that you're going for. And I think sometimes it's maybe overused. I don't think you should use it on every project. And I think that there's sensors that get you to a way closer look to what film would actually look like, especially, the original Blackmagic, the Alexa Mini, LF3 sensor, the new LF4 sensor as well, because it has so much dynamic range. Maybe like a Red Dragon, Red Gemini. There's a few cameras like that I find that look just way more organic right away, and you can really tell when you're trying to do a film emulation. So okay, my time as an influencer is done. If you want to purchase Dehancer and get a nice discount, use the code PLAFILM to get a nice discount. And we might see you in the next video. So thanks for watching.